Welcome to the new season. It's time to review this year's regulations, manage this season's engine, and negotiate new obligations with your sponsors. It is time for Season 2 to kick off with this pre-season. Hey, what's up guys, AERO here, and welcome to the start of Season 2 of my very first F1 Manager 22 career mode. Season 1 was a complete stab into the unknown. We had a lot of fun in that first season, kind of learning for the very first time this all brand new game by Frontier devs, and we actually did quite well in that season. We got third place in the Constructors' Championship with Alfa Romeo, one win for Valtteri Bottas, a couple for our new signing Pierre Gasly about halfway through that first season, and now it's time to step into Season 2. I'm hoping a year where we can build up this car to be challenging those teams above us, Red Bull and Ferrari, consistently. But it's not going to be easy, of course. Ever since that proper big patch for the tyres and the fuel, etc., it has been more of a challenge. And also, I think we, halted development on last year's car, consistent, actual, tangible upgrades for that season to prepare for this brand new season. We did about, I think, 5 research projects in total, I want to say. So, a lot of research. For whatever reason, just seeing this screen alone is making me very excited for this. So, let's dive into it. F1 sponsorship. So, sponsor obligations, manage the season's obligations. So, the main fund is going to be 88.33 million dollars, the core funding amount that your sponsor will donate based on your team's team rating compared to competitors. So we have a team rating of 6 out of 10, which is weird because considering we got third place, I feel like we deserved a higher team rating than 6 out of 10, but it is what it is. 88 million, sponsor obligations of 9.3 million coming in. So we've got 3 requirements and then 0 additional obligations. I don't know whether we can change that or not and add some more, but in total we'll be getting 97 million then. 97.6 million for this season. Funding schedule, pre-season lump sum will be 29. So right away here in this episode, we'll get 29.3 million to do some work in terms of, any big upgrades, the car, of course, and then anything else we need to do in terms of new staff, etc., new drivers, potentially. I'm not going to give anything away yet of my thinking, but we'll see. And income per race then is going to be 3 million. So let's negotiate then sponsor obligations. So we've got race hospitality. Number of days, 15 days. Obviously, pit crew performance will decrease on each day, and we get a total of, not even a lot, 378k. So the maximum we can do is 22, of course, being 22 Grand Prix. That'll only get us, 500,000. That's not really that much, and it will decrease the performance of the pit crew, which was an issue for us last season. So I'm kind of tempted to put this down to the minimum, just 15. Just do the bare minimum required, basically. Memorabilia room. So we have that. We actually purchased that last season. So that's something that we didn't have, maybe, necessarily, in the previous one. The max we can do there is 25 memorabilia days in the room. And it'll be paused for each day of the event in terms of the morale boost. So that's not too much. I feel like morale boost. We didn't even have this last season, I don't believe, because I don't think this was part of obligation last season because we didn't even have a memorabilia room. I think we built it literally halfway through or 2/3 of the way through. So this is to do with the race simulator. So the experience boost is reduced. We've got factory events. So manufacturing is paused. Don't want to do that because, we're a growing team, so we can't afford to do that. Factory event. Again, manufacturing will be paused. Don't fancy doing that. Race weekend driver appearance. So the driver's control performance rating will be reduced during each race weekend they make a media appearance. That is not even that much. 84k. I mean, compared to the kind of, 1 million for, like, let's say a gearbox or, 500,000 to build things, it's actually not that much. So ultimately, actually, merchandising seems the best thing to put some money into. Of course, we've got a lump sum of 29 million, so it's going to be 400k. So it's going to be, 400 out of 500k of a front wing. That'll get us $3 million over the course of this season in total. I'm happy with that. And also, I want to fancy doing some merchandising sales, because come on, we got third place in the Constructors. We're a growing team. We should definitely be doing some merchandising. Definitely one thing I want to see for future F1 Manager games is, like, maybe some fake sponsors that we can sign deals on to add add onto the car, potentially. Like, if there's some leeway to maybe put fake sponsors, not on the car, maybe, actually, just, like, around the factory, let's say, or the team wear. It just give a bit more of an in-depth approach to this entire thing, which is very important, of course, for a team, and would just be a bit more interesting, just rather than looking at driver appearances, let's say, and merchandising, which we don't even know what that entails. So our pre-season lump sums reduced to 23 million. I'm fine with that. That's calm. So I'm good with that. 101 over the course of this season from sponsorship. And with that sponsorship sorted out, I've actually got some exciting news for this season too. So like in real life, where Alfa Romeo are potentially ending their partnership with the Sauber F1 team, because of course underneath the skin of this team, it is just the Sauber crew. They're still based where Sauber have always been based. Alfa Romeo was always just a big branding kind of sponsorship, if you will. So like in real life, where Alfa Romeo are actually going to be ending their sponsorship and partnership with the Sauber team, we are also going to be ending that partnership and introducing Audi into Formula 1. Yes, you got that right. Not for the first time that I've introduced Audi into a Formula 1 career series. Of course, I did a very similar thing in my Team career mode, but that was a very different storyline. This one is actually much more of a realistic storyline because, of course, there have been massive rumors that Audi are maybe toying with the idea of replacing Alfa Romeo in that massive branding partnership deal before then maybe doing their own works introduction of an actual Audi engine when the new engine regulations come in 2026. But for now, they want a presence in Formula 1, and the rumor is they actually might go for partnering with Sauber to do a similar thing that Alfa Romeo have been doing, is badging up the car as Audi, even though it will still be a Ferrari-powered car underneath. So here in this game, in this career mode, I thought it'd be a really nice way to switch things up, keep things fresh in Season 2, and so as you can see, we've got this really awesome mod with Audi now taking over the team, the branding, you'll see the driver suits and everything, and a brand new car livery, which I'll show you later. So for this new season, the game's still insistent on saying that we're going for 5th or above, even though we got 3rd place last season. So that, to be fair, puts a lot less pressure on us, and we can just do our thing. Long-term objective is still the podium contender, and the target is 25% of races in this season we get a podium. Target season was 2024, so that's already from basically, it's the same sort of target basically that we got last year. In terms of the balance at the start of this season, then, so we got sponsor funding coming in of the lump sum of 23.7, board payments are 7.8 million, and then of course we've got outgoings already of the entry fee, so in total we have 28.9 million to start off this season, and obviously the cost cap is 141, and we'll work towards, you know, staying under that, and I don't think we have a team like us, we don't have a problem really of staying under that cost cap. You know, we're not Red Bull Restaurant, we don't have this fancy catering, the staff are going to get meal deals from Tesco down the road, and if they don't like it, that's tough. So in terms of the technical regulation changes, like we already knew, the front wing and the rear wing is changing, so there is a reduction to overall downforce in every part of the car, and airflow sensitivity as well on the rear and the front, but we've done some really good research work to try and negate that, and we need to make sure we manufacture those parts in good time, for that new season and the first race. Financial wise, the cost gap is the same this year. There was some voting to potentially change things like that, and the season prize share is the same as well, because that was going to change. Remember, there was a vote, but I, along with enough teams, voted for to stay the same, because there was a vote to maybe make it more top heavy, which I did not agree with. So for 3rd place, 65 million there should be there. So I'm still wondering if that's still going to come in, because right now I've not actually heard any mention of 65 million coming into our team. Sporting regulations, the only thing that's changed is the fastest lap. There's no fastest lap in this season, so I mean, it's not a massive detriment to our team, I guess. There weren't that many times where we got the fastest lap. That'll more be for the championship fight, you know, with Ferrari and Red Bull. Maybe we're going to be in that. I kind of hope so by the end of the season, but it's not going to be a factor in this year's season. So now it's time to move on to powertrain manufacturers. Now this is quite exciting. For the first time, I could potentially switch power unit suppliers. We've been with Ferrari since the start of the game because, of course, naturally, Alfa Romeo originally are powered by Ferrari. But we could choose Renault, Red Bull Powertrains, or Mercedes. Ferrari, along with Mercedes, are actually the most expensive engines here, so we could actually save some money by going with Renault or Red Bull Powertrains. In terms of outright power, Red Bull Powertrains is actually the best one here. Durability is, well, power loss threshold is actually better than the Ferrari and Mercedes. Wear resistance is a little bit lower than Ferrari and Mercedes. Thermal is actually better. Fuel efficiency a lot worse, so fuel could be more of an issue. But at the same time, there weren't that... I mean, I know at the start of last season, you know, when we were first learning the game, I did have a few times where fuel was an issue. But ever since we got on top of that, I understood how the delta worked for fuel. I don't think it's been much of a problem for us. So potentially taking the hit on fuel efficiency wouldn't be too bad. Gearbox durability is actually better, which was something that was an issue. Remember, we went through like 6-7 gearboxes last year, so that could actually be a massive booster for us. ERS durability is better, again, something that was getting worn out for us. And the best team finish here, well, Red Bull Powertrains was second. Ferrari, I know they won it, but I think that was more so because of the rest of their car. So I am actually very tempted to go with Red Bull Powertrains. It's a 5 million reduction, but we get more ultimate power. Yes, fuel efficiency will be more difficult to manage, but also gearbox and ERS will be in a better position than we were last season, and that will mean less penalties for us, which could have helped us get better results, of course. So I'm going to go for it, I think. We're going to go for Red Bull Powertrains. I want to, you know, it's a brand new game. It's only our second ever season. I don't want to just stick with the boring options of sticking with things that we know. I want to try things out, so I want to go for Red Bull Powertrains. Now, obviously, IRL, Red Bull, the brand, going with Audi and SAUBER. Would that make sense? Well, think of it like this way. You know, realistically, we can see the patterns that Honda seem to want to come back into the sport. I reckon Honda will partner with Red Bull Powertrains for 2026. And in the past, Honda, if you remember, did actually almost, you know, there was maybe that rumored deal with them and Sauber before they re-signed with Ferrari for that new, engine tender for the remainder, up till now, basically. But there was that point where Honda, before they made the switch over to the Red Bull family of AlphaTauri or Toro Rosso at the time, and Red Bull, there was that rumor that they were going to maybe go with Sauber. So I think going with Red Bull Powertrains, which is basically the Honda engine, I think also does make actually a bit of logical sense in terms of the history of this Sauber team, which is now known as Audi. Confirm powertrain manufacturers. So the starting... Okay, so this goes out of our lump sum. So the starting balance we have is 8.8 million, which is fair enough. That's... I think we can still do some good manufacturing of new parts, etc., etc. for that. So 15 million. We actually save 5 million. We would have started with 3 million here if we actually didn't go for this discount. So I'm actually quite happy with that. And so here we are. As you can clearly see, they've got their new overalls on, and Audi is badged everywhere around here. And this is what our brand new car looks like, and a very creepy looking Bottas for a second there. But this is our brand new Audi Challenger in a kind of off-white grey with the red and black, taking some inspiration from the IRL, Audi kind of concept also, and also the person who made the mod, their own kind of concept. I'll leave a link below to this Audi mod if you want to check it out for yourself, and also some other mods that I've installed for other teams as well. So it's not just our team that has changed a new look. For this season, we've got a couple of new looks for different teams, which I'll take you through right now. But this is what our team looks like going into this brand new season. Of course, I've just gone to a new career just to show you these car models, basically, of course, because obviously that showed Guan Yu Zhou. We've got actually Pierre Gasly now alongside Bottas, but we've got also some different mods for different teams. So we've got Red Bull with a old school Infinity retro livery now, so that's pretty damn sick. McLaren, we've got a Golf livery with the Golf blue, the kind of, light baby blue, looking very striking and lovely there, I must say. AlphaTauri as well, we've gone for an inverted mod, so it looks a lot more white than the darker blue this time round. Williams with a full repackage and livery with a brand new sponsor of Coinbase there, and Haas with a darker looking livery black and red with Monster Energy on the engine cover. So overall, a nice little refresh, you know, not too much, but just a subtle refresh for a couple of teams' looks, and especially for our team with Audi Sport. So let's look at our inbox then. So 2023 internal car report. So this will be based on the car part expertise of engineering staff. We can start designing car parts with them in mind. Right, so the 2023 performance. So we have actually gone up in top end speed, acceleration, and as you can see, because of our researching, we've actually been able to find all the time and downforce and performance lost with these technical regulations. We've been able to bring them back and then improve on them for this year's car. So we're going to start this year's car with a better car than we did last year. I don't know, maybe we're going to have to hope that maybe some of these AI teams haven't done as much researching and they actually start with a slower car, who knows. But we've improved in every area of the car due to the amount of research we've done. And actually here, look at this, engine cooling, we've gone up to 62% compared to 28%. So that's a massive step up for engine cooling. Brake cooling as well, about, you know, I would say that like 8% up from 55 to 63. High speed, 8%. Medium speed, 45 compared to 37 in terms of dirty air cornering this is. So whilst they're racing each other, 35 to 27. DRS as well, top end speed, we've improved that just a tiny amount. And then the cornering as well, we've improved as well vastly. So I'm very happy with what we've done in terms of the research. And now it's time to look at the team roster update for 2023. So this is kind of exciting. I'm kind of curious if anything's really changed massively. And of course, we ourselves could be looking at changing a driver up, maybe. Let's see. But Ferrari stick with Leclerc and Sainz, no surprise there. Red Bull, Verstappen and Perez, obviously they worked very well. For us with Audi, we've got Bottas and Gasly at the moment. Hamilton and Russell at Mercedes. AlphaTauri have changed up. And Alpine. Oh! Alpine! So, Fernando Alonso, like in real life, has left Alpine for 2023, and Sebastian Vettel is in the Alpine team alongside Esteban Ocon. In the AlphaTauri, Albon has gone back to the sister junior Red Bull team alongside Fernando. What the? I did not see that. I did not look at that clearly enough. Alonso and AlphaTauri? What? Alonso in the junior Red Bull team. Okay, that is intriguing. McLaren retain Ricciardo and Norris. Haas have Latifi and Magnussen now. Okay. Aston Martin have Zhou Guanyu, okay, and with Lance Stroll, obviously, going to stay put there. And then Williams have Schumacher and Tsunoda. Okay, interesting. Okay, I didn't think there was going to be that much of a change there, but that's actually quite a significant change for a lot of the midfield and bottom end teams there. Okay, interesting. This one's a real interesting one. Vettel and Alpine and Alonso and Albon in the AlphaTauri. Okay, car development open now, and then the ATR allocation starts here. I'm going to go for 1.6 CFD time for each one, so that's going to spread it, you know, in even thirds basically for all of those. And then wind tunnel time, we'll go for about 21 hours each. It's not going to be a perfect match for spreading it across, basically. Available engineers, so we've got 10 in total, so we'll do, well, 3. I think we'll do 3 on this, 3 in the rear wing, and then 4 on the underfloor, because I feel like that's a bigger project then. In terms of the approach, we've got normal, rushed, and intense. Now, this is another thing I saw someone recommend, that if you go with intense, even though it costs more, long term, you're going to gain a lot, and we do have a decent amount of money to spend here. We've got just under 15 million, so spending this money early in the season will carry over for the rest of the season. You know, in terms of you're gaining extra expertise to optimize this design. As it says here, costs will be higher, but will improve future designs of this car. And we've got the time. Like, this is going to get done in time for Bahrain, so we've got this time to use it. And right now, we don't have any more slots left for the designing, but by the time the rear wing and front wing's done, the new ATR period's there, so we can still get the underfloor put in with the rest of the ATR period allotted, CFD and wind tunnel time. So it's not wasted. We just have to wait until Feb 12th to actually get that design in, and then we can do the underfloor. That will get done hopefully then in time for everything kicking off then in March with the first race at Bahrain at the end of March. So in terms of other things left to do in this episode then, suggestions from you guys down below in the comments below. So I already went through the intensive development, the new livery. I've got here also looking at free agents for staff, and then also a tour center. So let's do that first. Facilities, tour center not built. Apparently building it, like, eventually it'll actually become a decent amount of weekly income once you get it up. And even the helipad, let's go build a helipad. Let's go big or go home on that. Hospitality, 1 million. Yep, let's go for that. 1 million there. 3 additions to our facilities. We've already got factory and design center long-term projects coming in. 15 days till the design center, so that's going to obviously give us more capacity for car part design. So that's going to allow us to do 3 parts at a go rather than 2. So looking at technical chiefs here, Alpine's technical chief right now, he's 2 higher rating than what we've got, and he is open to negotiation. The rest of them are not. It looks like Resta, he wasn't at AlphaTauri before. I think he used to be at Haas. Or even Ferrari, so I think he's moved over to AlphaTauri then with big changes clearly happening at AlphaTauri. But Alpine's technical chief right now, he is maybe a good option because we've got pretty much everyone else is below us. So that's the only improvement I can find that's open to negotiation. And again, like with the technical chief, their head of aero is also available to negotiation. So we're going to go for a scouting for him as well. The rest of them really not interested. You know, Red Bull's one, Ferrari, that's our own at the moment, and then everyone else is actually worse than our head of aero. So we've actually got quite a good head of aero already, but we could go even better by 3 above if we could maybe pull Alpines, and that would obviously make Alpine weaker, which would help our fight in general, because Alpine were a bit of a headache sometimes, and if you saw, they did improve quite rapidly over last season, especially in the last part. I felt they were way quicker than they ever were at the start of the season, so clearly they've got good staff. So might be good trying to do a kind of double smash and grab nick of their staffs potentially. In terms of drivers that potentially we could sign, and in terms of drivers, well, it's looking at the comments of the last episode of season 1. A lot of you were saying potentially keeping Bottas in, like we did with Zhou Guanyu, for maybe a couple of races, see how he does. If he's not up to scratch, if he's making too many mistakes now, even though he's the higher rated driver, it doesn't matter if he's making mistakes that get him out of the race. So if he's making those mistakes, then maybe we have to change him. So maybe giving him a bit of a trial run for the start of this season, like we did with Zhou Guanyu before we moved to Gasly. And it won't be too much of a detriment to the season. But at the same time, if you guys have any ideas of who I could go for, then let me know. The thing is, though, choices are limited of who's interested in us. The highest rated driver that's interested in going for us is maybe Ocon at Alpine. And then after that, the rest of them are kind of locked in, apart from then all the way down to Kevin Magnussen, who's 80 rated, who's like whopping, 7 lower than Bottas. But I don't know. Maybe, the overall rating's not the be-all and end-all. And maybe I'm missing a trick somewhere. Because I have seen in other people's career modes they're going for lower rated drivers but still doing quite well. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, guys, if you're more experienced with this game, if you have any kind of hot picks of maybe who we should scout, at least in preparation for maybe a replacement for the Flying Finn. There's 1 facility done. Hopefully more to come, obviously. And the scouting's been done as well. Right, proposing contract for Dirk de Beer. So I think at the moment we are paying our main man about 2 million something. So if we go for a salary of 3 million, would that maybe be a good thing? He's one of the highest rated head of aero, so we may as well give him a 3-year contract. And then starting bonus, let's add that on of about, I don't know, like $500,000 maybe, or 250k. Let's go for 250k. Let's see what he says here. Right, offer contract. Let's see. Is he going to be happy with that? 3 seasons? Okay. No. Back to negotiation. So he's okay with 3 seasons. Okay with starting bonus. So salary just has to be higher, I reckon, to actually get him over the line. So I can probably add a bonus here of 300k to sweeten the deal a bit more. Let's go up to 4 million then, because he is a lot better than our current head of aero, because 3 is actually quite a lot when you think about how small the rating difference is between all of them. Patience is high, so we've got another chance maybe after this. So send proposal there. Is he going to be happy with that? Happy with the salary. And there we go. We have secured the services of Dirk De Beer, new head of aero into this new season. 3.3 million in terms of the hiring to buy out the contract of our current head of aero. So it is a bit of a costly spend, but I think it'll be worth it. At the moment, our current technical chief, he was a free agent before. He's got a large salary, and annoyingly, the game automatically renewed his contract. I wish it kind of told me, like, oh, it's coming up, we should probably do something, because now the cost to break is 4.7. To be fair, though, if we look overall at technical chiefs, he is quite high. Like, the person we could go for Alpine, it's 2 over. There's only 3 better than him, and they're not interested. He's the only one interested. So no one else is actually there's no one else, basically, what I'm trying to say is, and we've got the same level as McLaren. So I'm just going to stick with Richie. The head of aero was costly enough, but I think that's a really strong signing there, because that's going to improve all these attributes for the car. Factory of the Design Center is done. We have got level, what is it, level 3, is it now, of Design Center? Yes, that is great. So now we can design 3 car parts, and that actually means now you don't even have to wait for the design of the front wing and rear wing to be done. We can actually go ahead and design a new underfloor straight away. So again, 1.6 of the CFD, and then the remaining wind tunnel time of 22 hours it'll be. I'm gonna go for focusing on drag reduction here, because I want some good straight line speed. It still improves overall every other attribute, just not as much. Putting the remaining engineers on it of 4. This will cost 3 million if I was to do intense development, and we've only got 6 million. We need a couple of million to then make spares of parts of the new front wing and rear wing, etc. So maybe actually I go with a normal approach and just bite the bullet. We did a lot of normal approaches before. I already did intense now because obviously it was suggested, and onto the front and rear wing. Those are massive parts of the car that did change in the regulation change compared to anything else. So let's go with a normal approach. It'll cost a lot less. It'll still get done the same amount of time, but we'll just, yeah, there's cost reduction a little bit. If I rush it, it's only actually an extra 500,000. So if I rush it, we can actually get this done in time for Bahrain. So that's the compromise I'll make here. I'll rush it, not intensive approach, but it means we get it at Bahrain in time, and also it just costs a lot less in terms of the intent. Hospitality area is done, so that's our final facility upgrade in terms of what we purchase, and Bottas actually has a new development point. I'm going to go for braking, because he seemed to have a real big issue with that, so even though he's at 91, let's go with 92 braking, mate. Let's try and stop those crashes. Pourchaire has 2 development points. Let's go with reactions to get that up to 61, because that's his lowest stat right now, so up to 61, so progressing well. I'm hoping that in the near future, we maybe could risk it and put him in the car maybe at one point. And the next thing that will come along is our rear wing and front wing being designed. Front wing's done, and that's the rear wing. Awesome. Now we can manufacture these parts. So new project, manufacture, front wing, the new one. Let's make 4 of them. And that's going to get done in time for Bahrain. Maybe not necessarily like the first pre-season test, I don't know, maybe so. But yeah, we'll make 4 of them, so 2 spares for each. So when they get manufactured, that'll get done then, and then another set. So I think it should actually be good, because the pre-season begins over... Well, that's when the pre-season ends for Barcelona. So actually, let's just go forward and see how things shape up. Manufacturing done. Okay, there we go. Wait, hang on. Stop. I want to put them on the car. Warehouse, front wing, install. Rear wing, install. Right, race simulator needs refurbishment. Now, this I do want to refurbish, because this affects the drivers in terms of what they can do. I want that as much as effective as possible. So 900k to refurbish that one. And now we've got 11 million, because more cash has come in. So let's actually now refurbish this. 2.8, that's fine. Now I'm fine with doing that. And the new underfloor's been made, so now we can manufacture that. New underfloor, let's make 4 just in case Bottas has another random trip into the wall. And we can go ahead and, well, actually, is the new ATR period... Oh, the new ATR period, it's going to end in 4 days' time, and then a new one will start. So brake cooling could be improved, apparently, according to the grid. So that's something we'll look at. We actually did... That will improve, actually, with the suspension refurbishment we did. So that's actually quite a good thing then. But in terms of low speed, we're very good. High speed still lacking a little bit like we were last season. So that's all something to look at. Brake cooling and engine cooling were down. So we need to improve on that. And a new ATR period starts. Weather center, poor condition. Okay, need to refurbish that. Okay, got that. I'm going to go for suspensions with brake cooling and top-end speed as well. Really skewing that to brake cooling. So this is all about brake cooling on this suspension upgrade. And I'll go for an intense upgrade. I'll go for an intense development on this, just so the engineers can understand more about this, so it can help us in the future. And it's not, you know, even though it is something that came up in pre-season, or something we need to improve on, I reckon it can still wait maybe till after race 1 to still come in and then go from there. I'm going to design a brand new side pod as well, which skews towards the engine cooling. So both of those areas are going to try and improve in the next couple of upgrades. Race Simulator now has been refurbished, so that's good. That's good for good news in terms of the weekly experience gain. Is back up to 60% and the effectiveness 100%. And the suspension simulator has now been done as well, so that's back up to 2% on brake cooling and then 100% efficiency. And I believe now soon we'll get the results of pre-season testing, and the weather center has been refurbished. But results here, so no specific improvement this time round that's been pointed out. Obviously you can still see in red brake cooling, engine cooling, but in terms of what they picked at specifically, nothing yet. So that's actually that's quite positive actually. So in most areas of the car, our car is better than Mercedes, apart from acceleration, brake cooling and engine cooling. So we're going to try and improve these as much as we can. And then acceleration, so drag reduction potentially as well, overall as well. But that's very promising. Low speed cornering, we're second on the grid. That's really good. So low speed circuits